The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters at Real Estate Marketing, Ardor SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate. I'm Tim Calloway. We have a very special guest for you. Our guest began investing in real estate in 2012 with single-family development projects. And in 2019, he transitioned into multifamily space. He also hosts his own meetups and has his own podcast, the Small Axe Podcast. Welcome to the show. Nico, how are you? Nico Salgado.
Tim, what's up, man? I'm doing great. How are you?
And I'm fantastic. Couldn't be any better now that you're here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that welcome.
Well, let's have some fun. Why don't we just start at the beginning and tell me how you got started and how you moved into syndication and what you're doing now.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I can't wait to share my story, and hopefully people can find some value in it. So
100%.
I don't know where to start exactly, but maybe back in, I guess, college. I went to school for business, marketing, management with a minor in economics, and I left my business school and I got a job in sales. I just did not like it. I was actually going door to door selling like meat and frozen goods and refrigerators. If I sold a fridge, it would be a jackpot. I just did not like it. It didn't really fit my personality. I ended up traveling that same year, kind of like, to reinvent myself and just kind of like become introspective and think about what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Spent a few months in Hawaii. I'm a big surfer, by the way. And
nice.
Then I spent a few months in Spain with my family. My father was born and raised in Spain. And I fell in love or found a reconnection with the Spanish culture and language. And I ended up deciding that I wanted to go back to school to be a teacher, which would give me flexibility to travel the world and surf and also share the culture of the Spanish language. So I went to school and right away got a job as a teacher. I got a master's degree in Spanish language, literature and education. And I became a teacher. So I've been teaching since 2004. I taught for 5 years in New York City school system. And then 1 year I taught abroad in the Canary Islands, which obviously for surfing, it's off the coast of Morocco.
Right.
And then for 12 years, I've been here on Long Island, where I live in New York. Now, you mentioned that I began in 2012 with real estate, and I did. So as a surfer, I would travel the world and I would look at different surf spots. And I always had an eye and an interest in some sort of real estate. I didn't, even since I was little, I used to have a little wad of money. Everything that I got, all the money that I got from doing chores, from selling tomatoes, from lemonade stands, everything I would roll up and I would keep it in a nice tight wad, and like the broccoli wad, right?
Right.
And I would tell my mom I'm going to buy a house. I didn't really even know why or what it meant, but that's what I would tell my mom. And since I was little, I had that dream and desire, and I always had the eye, and I was always looking at different properties and different lands and just conceptualizing what could be done there. So back to 2012, I found a little beach town in Nicaragua that I fell in love with, and I had the vision that it was going to become what Costa Rica was 20 years ago and become the new Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And so I ended up buying a little piece of land. I had many trips down there, bought a little piece of land, and I developed a small single family house there. And it took like 3 years, literally 3 years, just to get the title cleared and put in my name. And then I built that house, and it took another few years to build the house just because of bureaucracy and all the stuff that goes on down there.
Right.
And then I sold it. I sold it in 2000, right at the end of 2021. So that was my first, intro to real estate. And I have been looking at duplexes and other things since then, following Bigger Pockets, listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks. And by 2019, I hadn't bought anything else. And I said, I was a little afraid. I was apprehensive based on the price of things where I live. trying to follow the thought process of everybody needs to invest where they live in their backyard.
Yeah.
For a duplex, Tim, we were looking at 900K. This is in 2019. And I was like, this is just there's no cash flow. It's a lot of risk. It's like, why am I doing this? So I stumbled upon Joe Fairless's book, the apartment syndication book, which just sparked a crazy new energy in me. And that was it. That was my all in, right? So I found through Bigger Pockets, I found the Jake and Gino community. I interviewed with Joe Fairless and some other big guys as well. I ended up joining the Jake and Gino community in 2019. A year later, from training and researching and underwriting tons of deals and bidding on deals, making offers and talking to networking with people, talking with different teams, I found a team and we ended up closing on a 194 unit property in Columbus, Ohio. So
nice.
Only 1 year in. Yeah, Tim, it was wild. And stop me if I know I'm rambling on here.
No, ramble, man. You're the hit. Let's hear it. I want to hear it
cool,
over
man.
and over again.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll lay it all out and then we'll break it down into what really goes on, right? The facts.
Yeah, right.
So we did great on that property. It was not easy. There was a lot of challenges, a lot of things that we didn't foresee happened. And we ended up selling out of that with an excellent return. Just this past July, we sold it. We got out before, interest rates got too crazy and made, a great return for our investors. So really excited about that. And then, but my target market ever since 2019, joining Jake and Gino, was actually Central Florida, more specifically the Tampa and the greater Tampa MSA. And I had made plenty of trips down there as well. And I had been focusing exclusively on that market. It just so happened that my friends that I was working with and looking at properties with down in Tampa had found that property in Columbus. So I ended up joining them for that project. Now, down in the Tampa MSA, I don't know how much you know about it, but it is crazy competitive. And I'm
in West Palm Beach, so
gotcha. Yeah,
I'm very familiar. Yeah.
So I ended up offering on a lot of deals, missing the mark every single one, getting beat out by so many different people that were bidding on the same deals. And I underwrote over 500 deals since 2019, just kind of learning the process, not obviously all in Central Florida, but I underwrote as much as possible just to get my licks in, right? And at first I had the same mindset as of everybody else, that these deals are, who would pay this amount, who can afford this? There's no cash flow, there's no returns on this. But I learned after underwriting all these deals that there is value in a lot of these properties, and that's why these people are willing to pay X amount. I just didn't know what I didn't know at that time. So it took me a good 3 years to really understand how to underwrite properly, oddly enough.
Yeah, sometimes it takes, what do you call it, baptism by fire, right? I mean, you got to get in there and get your hands dirty, and then you go, you know what? This is the right way to do it. And even those price points that I was concerned about 3 years ago, or whatever the case may be, you can validate those price points depending on what market you're in. And it's all about the market, right? I mean, at the end of the day, Columbus, Ohio may not have a $50 million, 10 door building, but Tampa has it, and you may be able to withstand it and have good cash flow. It's really about the geography. Do you agree with that? I mean, is it part of your vetting process? Is that what you look for? Okay, what area and what's comparable in the area, and that makes it better in Tampa than say it does Columbus. Even though you do deals in Columbus, they just look different than the ones maybe in Tampa. Am I correct?
Yeah, and when coming from the world of syndication, we have to sell these to investors. And when you say Tampa, it is a lot sexier than Columbus. However, they're both great markets, right?
Yeah.
But not everybody sees Columbus for the sexy market that Tampa is.
Right. One of them's the ocean, and one of them's a lake with ice on it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so talk about the, I love talking about the vetting process for your deals, right? Because I'm in, I'm in Florida, and everybody knows that who comes on the show generally, and I'm always looking for deals. I tend to look for land deals more than multifamilies or anything like that. But still, there's a vetting process, right? So, is there a box that you check, or I always say there's a box for everybody, right? You either fit in the box or you check the box, one of the two. Do you have that box? Is that created? It has to fit a certain parameter for you to invest in it?
Yeah, totally. So first of all, like my buying criteria is going to be 1970s or preferably 80s or newer, right? I look for concrete block construction, which is
Perfect.
important down in Florida.
Yeah.
We look
Just
for
had a
copper.
hurricane last night. What do you?
Yeah, or today, right? Isn't it still going on? It's like a windstorm.
Yeah, it is. It hit last night at 1 a.m. I'm in West Palm Beach, so the eye just went just a little bit north. And I'll tell you, a category 1, and I don't want anybody to ever think I'm downplaying a hurricane. I live in Florida, so it's hard for me to downplay hurricanes, right? But a category 1, we could sit out on the lawn, and watch it fly over, and we'd all feel pretty good about it, because we know the realities of what a real storm can do. Even a small storm's dangerous, though. But yeah, just to answer the question, I didn't mean to get off topic, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's still going up the East Coast.
Yeah. My partners are down there. We're looking at our properties that we have as well. So we look for 70s or newer, concrete block construction, no flood zone, pitched roofs. These are the things that we typically look for right away, right? Those are physical, right?
Right.
And then, we look for in the area, what kind of growth is there? Is there population increase or decrease? We look at the median income. People need to be able to afford the rents that we're asking. So not that we would necessarily stray away from a C- or a D class property, but the rents have to be justifiable by what their income is, right? So typically a third of their gross income is what we look for in rents. Can they afford that? If we check that box and we move forward. And then as far as, I'm always looking at news and seeing what's being built around there. What is, what kind of businesses are coming in? Are there hospitals? Is there, what kind of economic drivers are there? And is there economic diversity, right? If there are multiple different employers, not just, we don't want one single economy that's based on like manufacturing or healthcare, right? So we want a variety of different things.
That makes sense for sure. So swerving a little bit, in a different direction, not too much though. If I came out and visited you and I said, "Hey, Nico, meet me in Tampa, show me some of the properties that you're looking at." We decide, hey, we're going to get, some nice seafood, and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk business a little bit. And I whip out the old magic wand, and I go, "Nico, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to eradicate one issue that you have on a regular basis in your syndicate deals." What would be an issue that, you stumble across maybe on a regular basis? I mean, we all know that's not a flawless business, right? There's an inherent risk. There's work to be done. There's boots on the ground. There's management of. What do you find to be that ties up most of your time or your thoughts when you wake up first thing in the morning about your business?
That's an awesome question, Tim. I love that. Thorn in my side, challenges for me right now are capital raising. So my passion and where I find my energy, my positive energy going towards is meeting and discussing and negotiating with brokers, right? I love finding deals. I love looking at deals. I love analyzing them, seeing their potential, kind of thinking through what they could do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't necessarily like pitching deals to people. So I end up having to bring on capital raisers. And that's something that I struggle with personally. And that's just something that I also then have to manage the capital raisers, right? So there's it's just bringing capital to a deal is a pain in the butt for me.
Right. So, and stay with me at the end of the show. I'll give you some ideas on how to lessen that burden. I actually have a magic wand for that. So we'll discuss that a little bit. So tell me about what we'll put on our prognostication hats, and think about the future a little bit. tell me, what does the next, 1, 3, and 5 years look like for Nico? What do you see happening, and what do you aim to achieve in that time?
Yeah, love the question. It's important to think that way as well, Tim, and I appreciate you asking that. So I think about it a lot, and it's changed over the past 3 years of what I thought was possible and what I realized was more realistic. So today, let me backtrack for a second. In
Sure.
2019, I'm going to retire in 1 year after one deal, right? That doesn't happen.
Sure.
Um, the majority of the deals that people do, as your first syndication, right? If you've never done one before, you're not going to be running the deal, and you're not going to have a majority share ownership in equity, right? So
Right.
it's very challenging to, obviously it happens, but it's very challenging to retire after one deal in 1 year, right? So that being said, my expectations have readjusted. So for the next year, I hope to stack on as many deals as possible. I'm hoping for 2 to 3 more deals. I'm closing one at the end of this month, and I closed one last month. I'm hoping for, so I'm not talking about fiscal year, but 1 year from today,
Yeah.
we're in November right now. I'm hoping to close 2 to 3 more deals, right? This
Nice.
is, yeah. And at the same time, Tim, I'm still teaching. And I am leading these deals. I'm the guy on these deals, right? So I'm hoping that 2 years from now, with this traction that I'm gaining, I will be able to, retire with half my pension from the school system. This is my goal,
Hmm.
and then go full time into real estate, claim real estate professional status, and continue to build my portfolio. And hopefully by that time, year 3 now, we're looking at a refi, right? So
Right.
that's when I can start snowballing and really just start building my career.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. So I got to know, as you are an avid surfer and love of surf, I'm a fan of more the underwater, the scuba diving, hence living down in West Palm Beach. Where do I'm going to go personal instead of business, but so when that in-game day arrives, doesn't have to be an in-game retirement, because most of us in real estate investing don't ever retire, right? Every time you look at a home, piece of land, whatever it might be, you see dollar signs, and it always gets clicking. But where would that be? I mean, would it be down in Costa Rica? Would it be, where would it be? Where would you like to finish out the last quarter of your life on a surfboard?
Cool, man. So I live in New York, and I'm gonna stay in New York. Now I
Okay.
will, and to your point, I'm never gonna retire, man. I'm
Right.
always gonna be doing, like, I love the fact that it gets me excited to wake up and look at a new property, to underwrite a
Yeah.
new property, to even look into a new market and just understand what are the driving factors behind a new market, right? I just love
Right.
real estate, and I will never retire. So
Right.
that'll just be another part of my life, another episode of my life, I guess. And what I will do is I stay here, and I'll live in New York. I have my daughter behind me. I don't know how well you can see,
Yeah.
but and I have
Congratulations. Yeah.
thank you, man. And I have a big family here that I don't want to leave behind. And I surf here. So I grew up on the beach here. I live a quarter mile from the beach, and I am also a surfing instructor. And in the summertime, and I'm
Very cool.
also, yeah, an ocean manager, and I manage a small section of the largest special needs camp here on Long Island. And I teach them and take them surfing. So I'll continue to do that.
Fantastic.
New York, yeah, New York will be my home base, and I'm going to travel like I was doing in my first 10 years of teaching, travel the world, and surf that way via
Well,
small vacations.
yeah, I love it, Nico. I mean, that you definitely have that for others mentality. And, I can almost precisely remember the day I woke up and that for others mentality, kind of took over. And I realized, you know, chasing the goal of others and helping people achieve that was far more important than chasing the dollar. The dollars can come a lot of different ways, but until you start getting the gratification of the for others mentality, that makes waking up every day really worth the cause. So I love hearing that. How would someone get in touch with you, Nico? If they were looking to invest, or maybe they wanted to chew your ear about, syndication or multifamilies, how would they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so my website is smalaxcommunities.com.
Okay.
That's the best way to find me. However, it's currently down right now, so I got to
Oh,
get that back up. The other way is to just find me on, actually my social media got hacked also. My Instagram got
Oh
hacked.
man,
Find me on Facebook. So it's Nico_Salgado 456.
got it, got it. So we're kind of at the point of the show, Nico, where I kind of let you, you're the hit. I'm the DJ spinning the records. That shows you how old I am saying spinning the records. But you're the hit, and just take us out with some positivity or some thoughts that's on your mind, your soul, whatever you think you need to get out there into the ether. And tell us your last thoughts.
Beautiful. So I recently had a conversation with somebody who was brand new, literally the other night. This is a Thursday, and this was Monday night, brand new to the space. And he was asking for advice. And I said, here is my golden advice. And I wish I would have I wish I would have internalized this when I began. Understand that for the next 6 months to a year, you are in education mode. Enjoy it, really revel in that education mode and take it in. And don't sweat that you're not doing any deals if you're not doing deals. Understand that the education is paramount for the first 6 months to a year, and just enjoy it. Enjoy the process.
Yeah, that's sage advice for sure. Not everybody has that opportunity, right? Nico, thanks so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed it. I definitely want to, check in with you the next 3, 6, 9 months, see how things are going. Hang tight with me here at the end of the show. We can go over a couple of things, but I look forward to having you on again.
Excellent, Tim. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nico.